The manufacturing sector continues to show signs of strain amid demand recovery. According to the ABSA Purchasing Managers Index, the PMI, this indicates the loss of momentum observed at the end of 2024. The index, which measures the health of the sector, declined by 0.9 points to 45.3 index points in January 2025. This marks the third consecutive contraction and the lowest level since August 2024. ABSA says the January PMI underscores weak demand, logistical disruptions and rising costs. However, the improvement in orders and activity provides some optimism for recovery. Export sales recovered slightly in the same period, but the index remained below the November level. This is due to trade disruptions with Mozambique, fuel shortages affecting air freight, as well as the upcoming closure of ArcelorMittal's Longs business. On the other hand, the index increased by 3.2 points to 43.5 points in January due to a recovery in demand. Well, to discuss further, I'm joined by Andiswa Nondudele. She's an economist at ABSA CIB. Thank you so much for joining us, Andiswa. So this is the third consecutive decline in the headline PMI number. What's your reading of what's driving the weakness?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, the third one the third decline and also the third consecutive one in negative territory. I think this takes start to the year. I think if you look at what led this decline, it was mostly employment index, inventories, as well as supplier lead times. And then if you look at new sales orders as well as activity levels, they did improve somewhat in January, but they still remained below the 50 neutral mark, which tells us that conditions there are still also quite challenging.
Yeah. So the report makes for bad reading on supply chain disruptions that came with the Mozambique situation, and also concerns around what the closure of ArcelorMittal steel mills will mean for industry. This must be negatively informing the sector.
True. I think if you look at also the expected business conditions, even though they are still remaining the neutral point, they did drop somewhat. So we think those are some of the concerns that our manufacturers have this going forward.
All right, Andiswa, I am worried about your sound. It's not that great, but we'll continue. So President Trump has made it clear that for whatever reason, he's going to investigate South Africa's conduct on a number of fronts, and this may have consequences. Maybe as a result, we've seen the rand breach 19 against the US dollar. If sustained, we're talking about higher inflation, which is bad for everybody. And I see that the manufacturing sector has already registered an increase in costs. What might these latest developments mean for the sector?
Yeah, so as you've said, so a weaker rand is likely to affect inflation for the South African economies, and input cost pressures is likely to increase due to that. So it does affect the sector in an adverse manner.
All right, Andy, we're going to leave it there, but thank you so much for speaking to us and giving us some insight on the latest PMI. That Andiswa Nondudele, she's an economist at ABSA CIB.